What ways do you see are some of the most dangerous ways? First, let's start with, right? Because I always talk about the positive and beneficial use cases of technology. But what are some of the most dangerous ways you think technology can be utilized in military warfare?
Some of the ways it's already being used,
Mm,
right? So you have this company, Palantir. And Palantir was that thing in Lord of the Rings that was like the all-seeing eye, right? And they've been around for a minute now, but they just went public a couple of years ago, so people are just now paying attention to them. But in the military, when you're trying to figure out how to manipulate people's perception, it's called PSYOP. Psychological operations is the job. And they do what's called an information operation, which is where first you have to go map out the information environment. So let's say you're a soldier in Afghanistan and there's a particular province like Helmand province that is, you're trying to figure out how to manipulate what the people think there, right? Because it's a contested area. They're not positive towards the U.S. They're not negative towards the Taliban. So you want to go in there and try to sway them one way or the other. First thing on the information operation you have to do is go map out the information environment, which entails everything from the physical reality to the social networks to who's an influential voice. So back in the day, that would be like.
Hey, Shane, I know you started in the military. Is this true? You heard any of this before? No.
I didn't go to MI. After I took my ASVAB test, they offered me the job, but I went to communications instead. I didn't want to do it because it would have made my enlist. They wanted me to enlist longer than double the length that I wanted to. But based on what she's saying, it makes sense. Yeah, I can't imagine it. But I had a top secret clearance, but the information that I had wasn't privy to this kind of stuff. And I was in 30 years ago in 1991 to 94. So the internet age wasn't really here the way it is now.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and continue.
Oh, what radio station are they listening to? What times are they listening to it most? Who's the most popular kid at the high school? So we could go pay him, or who's the imam in the community that has more political sway, even if they're not the main one. And so you would do this stuff manually. And then from there, you could plan out, your targeted mission operation. I forget what they called it. It's been years, but they called it your targeted information campaign. So then you'd figure out what you want them to say, and then you'd pick the channels you wanted to distribute it through. So I know that these high school students listen to the radio between 8 and 10 p.m. And so therefore, I'm going to go and I'm going to pay the radio station to run this message that's propaganda to them on the same day that earlier in the afternoon, the most popular high school kid going to say something about it. And then the next day they going to go and then a mom is going to preach a message about it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to see how their perception changes. So that's how they would map it out. And it was all manual. So there's lots of room for error, lots of room for humans that were on the other end of that campaign to be able to protect themselves. Like if you're not telling people who you cool with, you're not making your pattern so obvious, it's harder to be manipulated. But now it's all data driven. When you log into these social media companies and you like somebody's picture, you're creating what they call a graph. They call it a graph network in the technology. What that does is maps you to who's important to you, who matters to you, who's relevant to you, what you like, what you don't like. And then with platforms like Meta, if you link certain third-party apps that give their data to Meta, they can get a much bigger picture about you. So there's a very popular app for women to track their menstrual cycle.
I know I got to stop it, but I was kind of thinking about this whole Diddy situation, man. When she was talking about this, I don't know if y'all was thinking about it, but it seemed like it's a big distraction for some reason. I don't know if it's planned or not, but when I was listening to this today, I'm just like,
It's called Flow.
I believe it is.
And they give all their data to Facebook. So now, not only do I know that you like these people's pictures, this who you interact with more, but now I can see what you do during different phases of your cycle. When you on your cycle, right before your cycle, or you go look at your ex's page right before, and I know it's your ex because you done told me your relationship status and tagged them in it. So now all of that data is automated. What websites you go visit. And then you link up your Apple Watch and your health app, and they know when you sleep and know when you wake.
Yeah.
Now they can try that to all your other behaviors. And then you link that to your journal app where you telling them how you feel every day. And now they see it even more. And then you log in with your Google or with your Meta to all these other websites that are now automatically collecting all that data about you and creating a graph about you that understands you better than you do. So much so that Amazon has patented algorithms that can predict if you're going to buy an item or not. And so now we go back to Palantir, the all-seeing eye, which was originally created as a private company to kind of help with that information targeting process. They wanted to make it easier so you don't have to go on the ground, undercover and go talk to people to figure stuff out. We can just figure it out with data.
I had to kind of switch it up a little bit, man. Everybody always talk about we talk about bullshit all the time. But here you is, folks. Here you go. Here you go. A gift from me to you.
And they're huge. And I think they just won like another $180 million contract either yesterday or today. And so what they're doing constantly is they're basically scraping or making copies of the whole internet. They're making copies of all these documents. They're making it so that all these intelligence officers can upload their reports, and they're, they be spying on people. And this is what this meant. And they go have a diplomatic meeting and they write in their notes. Like all that stuff goes in there and creates an even more detailed graph about you. And the purpose of that is so that the military will say is to identify threats or to improve operational efficiency. What that means is, are you someone we need to be worried about? And if so, we already know everything about you to know how to change what you feel.
All right, let's go ahead and get into warfare tech dangers. I know, Shan, you brought up the Diddy and said you want to kind of get into it. Go ahead and open it up with that. And let's go ahead and talk about this warfare tech dangers and you guys' opinions about it.
I'm a conspiracy theorist in a lot of stuff, bro. I'm a card carrying conspiracy theorist. And in my years of I graduated high school in 1989. I was around when emails was first introduced. I was around before AOL. I've watched technology get installed, and I've watched the evolution of automobiles and television, flat screen TVs, and cell phones. My first cell phone wasn't a brick. My first phone was the one that it was a diamond tail. It was before the brick, the one that was a big ass box, and you had to put it in the middle. I've watched it all, man, and I've watched how people move and behave towards technology. Now, what she's explaining is really just standard propaganda manipulation. It's not necessarily attached to the military, but this is what people have been doing for, I would imagine, centuries. Certainly in the technological age, and certainly whenever we monetize damn near everything on the planet, including the water you drink. Everything you can buy everything, all the essentials that people need. And in order to get money from that, you got to figure out how people think. As an example, in the film industry, as a film producer, when we go in, after we're getting ready to wrap up on post-production and we're trying to think about marketing, there's a standard in Hollywood. You have to see our advertisement 7 times before you go see the movie. So I got to put it on the bus. I have to put it on the billboard. I have to make a trailer and put it on television. I have to put it on the back of a bus stop. You got to put it there. I got to get it in the barbershops, and you have to see my advertisement for this upcoming movie at least 7 times. And once you see it 7 times, if somebody talks about it, or you see a banner that comes across your internet computer screen, then and only then will you decide to go and pay to see my movie in the film. And in the movie theaters. That's a psyop. It simply is. And we know that. Our marketing teams know that that's what we need to do. And so we're trying, and then you think about what market you're going to put it in. So how many theaters are we going to buy out, man? And what markets are we going to do? Markets are areas. So are we going to hit up Chicago? And what part of Chicago? And what people in Chicago? What's the movie about? And then are we going to hit up ATL? Where are we going to go? And then make sure these people see that ad 7 times. This is basic human behavior, man. Basic human behavior in psychology. And there's a good side and the bad side to that. One side is the bad side. We don't want to be controlled as human beings. We want to be in control of everything we do. Everybody thinks that they have autonomy and that I'm going to go where I want to go and do what I want to do, and nobody is manipulating me, and I'm going to shop on eBay, or I got Amazon Prime, and Bezos doesn't know what I'm gonna buy until I need what I need. You know, next thing you know, Alexa's telling you, hey, you wanna re-up on that toilet paper, or you want to get some more lotion, or you want to order some more of this stuff. I think you're about out of it. And you're like, damn, I am about out of that. How do you know that? On the other side, we love comfort as human beings. So while we don't want to be controlled, we enjoy comfort. We enjoy picking up our phones and calling and FaceTiming somebody. And we enjoy being able to not have to go to Blockbuster Video to rent a DVD anymore. For those that remember, I was in the days of renting VHS. For those that know what a VHS is, now you got the entire, any movie that you can think of tonight, you could watch for $2.99. Any movie in the history of film, you could watch it tonight for $3. That's comforting. But the technology did that. The PSYOP did that to make your life a little bit easier. So which one do we want? Is it do we want to be in the matrix? Do we want to not be in the matrix? Do we want a hard life and to say that I have full autonomy and all by myself? Or are we cool with being controlled a little bit by Facebook? But shit, I'm able to connect with my family all over the world without having to go to a family reunion anymore.